Hello, hello, lovely people. Welcome for another episode of the Devrel show. Every time the show starts, with the intro song, every time I'm like, oh, that's a little bit too loud. Like I should change the sound so it's closer to the voice of me or the guest speaking. And after 2, 3 seconds, I'm already dancing to the song. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's keep it like that. It's a great way to, get excited about the show, which I'm always is. Like I'm always excited about the show because not because it's my show, always because of the amazing guests that I have. And today's no difference. I have Arshit with me. How is life, my friend?
That is good, Fred. Thank you for having me on the show. As I was mentioning to you, I've been listening to your show. Sometimes I'm cooking, I'm doing some task. I make sure I put on my earphone and I listen to some of the amazing Devrel, strategies, uh, approaches that everybody has to share on your show. So thanks for having me. Good to be here and excited to share what I've learned throughout these years and what I could contribute back to the community.
My pleasure, and thanks for watching the show. I mean, like the goal is for that show is like first, if I want to be honest, the first goal was like just like me having a way to have fun with amazing people within the developer relation, and this positive side effect is that it's great content for their people to consume. And my goal was a mix between like I would love that content to be relevant for other people working in devrel, but also people who would like to work in devrel, but also like just like other technical people or people working in tech, even if you're not in developer relation, even if it's not your role. Hopefully you can gather some interesting story and some interesting tips and tricks from the show, either from the first part where I'm talking more about the guest, so you get to know a new person, you get to know a new human being working in tech, and maybe hopefully when there is a second part and there is like a technical demo, you can learn about some new technology. And for the devrel folks who are guests on the show, usually the demo part is also a great opportunity for you to just promote your product, because I always say, like, people are not against product pitches. People are against really bad and sucky product pitches, which most of them are. But on the show, we try to keep it a little bit nicer on that side. So, with that said, before I ask my usual question to tell me who you are, do you want to talk about before the show? I asked you, we met in person, we know each other, but I'm really bad with name. And I asked you, like, I wanted to be sure. And I asked you, like, how do I pronounce your name? And you said my pronunciation was correct. But you also told me, like, there is another way you tell people how to pronounce your name. And I thought it was amazing. So I don't know if you want to share that on live stream.
For sure, I'm not shy to share that, right? And I'm very sorry to all the Harshits around the world, because when I share this affects you as well. And some of them have pointed out to me as well. Please don't share this pronunciation.
I
But
know.
this is for me. So the best way to pronounce my name is horse shit. So horses and then shit of the horses. So you'll never forget me now. You'll always whichever Harshit you meet or you want to remember something, you'll have me. If you see a horse, you'll have me in your mind, right? That
I I love that. For me, you had to share it, and as you said, like maybe sorry for the other art shit out there, because if I want to be honest, next time I see someone the same first name as you, I may start laughing even before we start a discussion, because I'm gonna think of you and how you tell people to pronounce your name. But I think it is fantastic. I mean, like, I can understand some people are really serious with their name. I'm not like that. My full name is Frédéric, but Frédéric, like, it's a French Quebecois name. Actually, not just a Quebecois name, but like the way I pronounce it is because I'm from Quebec in Canada, and it's really hard to pronounce if you don't speak French. It's really hard to pronounce. So some people would care, and like I do not mind. Like most of my anglophone friends or coworkers, they call me like Frederic, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's not the exact pronunciation, but you know what? I do not care. You made the effort. Good for you. But it's why also most of the time it's just Fred, because Fred is usually easier to pronounce no matter what your language. And actually, you know what? I prefer being called Fred. Honestly, there is like only my parents that call me Frederick, or people that do not know me. Most people call me Fred. But yeah, this is not a show about first name, but I really wanted you to share that fact because I thought that it was just amazing. And obviously, I say obviously, I should not take this for granted, but Anush is with us again. Amazing. Hi, Fred. Hope you're doing well. Also, say hi to your guest from my side. So you just said it to him. Another show. Let's go. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the show. And to answer your question, I'm doing pretty well. My back hurts still a little bit, but I'm not here to complain. I guess it's just part of like getting old and herniated disc. But another story, Harshit. Who are you?
All right, that is a very a question that could include a big answer, but
Yep.
I'm Harshit, as I mentioned. Pronounce that Harshit. Just to remind everyone, this is the right pronunciation that should be out there. And I currently work as a developer relations manager for an insurance tech company called Guidewire. I have been in Devrel space for over 11 years now. It's been I came into this as an accident. I was one of the community members, getting a lot of community support from other community members, and I realized how kind and good people are in the community space, helping each other, and like making sure that everybody's supported. And eventually I stepped into this space somehow by accident, and then just grew over it and absorbed it over that time period. I've heard in one of your podcasts you mentioned technology evangelist. Back in the day, the roles used to be called technology evangelist. So I started in this space with that role itself, and
Okay.
I remember every conference, everywhere I went, everybody used to ask me, every family meeting, what is an evangelist? What is a technology evangelist? I mean, I'm sure you would have you would have heard that too back in those days, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you got a little bit, so I missed the part. But what people were asking me at first, like, what it is, but they were also like, "Are you going to church every Sunday?" And my answer was like, yes and no. I mean, like, I'm not going to church, but like, if we want to be honest, and with all respect for people that are religious, technology, there's some kind of like religion around technology. Like, oh no, I'm a iOS person. No, Android is better. Or no, I'm a React. Or no, use Angular. And like, there's like, no, I prefer Mac OS or Windows on Linux. And like, usually has a technologist, has a person working in tech. Usually once you choose a side within those like different technologies that are like, again, competitor to each other, you have a stronghold. You're like, it's nearly there for life, and you're gonna fight it to the end because like that's what you decided that you like. That's what you decided is the best. So it's why I really love that title, because that was a little bit about that. There was talking to people about technology that they may not care about or that they may not like. Like, I started my career doing open source at Microsoft, like as a developer advocate. So everybody hated me because I was working at for the evil company, and I was trying to tell them like, no, we're trying to be a little more open. And it was during the Balmer era, so it was not totally, it was not really open, but we were hoping that it was going in that direction. But anyway, I'm blabbering. So yeah, no, you've been doing that for a while. And one of the things you mentioned is that where you are right now, most, not everyone, but like a big chunk of developer advocates, their job is within a technology focused company, meaning like we are representing like a product that is targeted to developer, or a product that developer could use within their software development duty. Like right now I work at TinyMCE. It's not a developer product, but it's a product that developer will add to their application to have like a rich text editor. But for you, like, you work for insurance company, so I would like to understand just at first, like, what is your role? You said your title, but like, titles and developer relation, like the role can change from one company to the other. So what does that mean at Guidewire? But also, what is the difference in the reality of your job now that you work for a non primary, like, I don't know how to say that, but like a non-focused technology company, like you use technology, of course, but like it's not a technology focused company, it's an insurance company, from what I understood.
Yeah, it's a it's an insurance tech company. So they are actually making a SaaS for
Oh,
insurance companies, and the they are they're kind of the market leaders. Guidewire is a market leader, which I also learned. When I joined, I was interviewing. I learned about that they are the market leader in the space. They have the biggest PNC, which is property and casualty insurance developers in the world. So their developer community is the biggest in terms of
oh,
for that particular domain of technology developers. So those developers have domain knowledge as well as the technology expertise to work on this particular product, Guidewire product. So that's the space. The difference, when compared to the previous companies I had worked for, like I worked for MongoDB before this, which was basically, I could just talk to any developer in the market and say, hey, do you want to try it out? I can open my laptop, make them try it out, or they can go in there and try it out, and they can absorb. This is a different space. This is more of an enterprise space, where enterprise purchase the softwares, then partners, consulting partners are enabled. The developers in those consulting companies are enabled to understand and build on that on that particular product. So it's a different space. It's not a space where I could partner with the JavaScript meetup in my locality and go there and talk about my product. It's more about, we know our community, we know where they are. So compared to when I was at MongoDB, uh, basically you could walk into any developer meetup, discuss MongoDB, and talk about that. Here it's more like, we know our community, we know who they are. So it's less about making them aware about the existence of the product and why does it exist, compared to when MongoDB, I was in a space where I was, doing a lot of top of the funnel activities for developers,
mm.
meeting a lot of new developers who have not tried MongoDB yet, and then trying to, through developer programs or through interactions, bring them into trying MongoDB. Here it's more like, the developers are actually very hands down. They have paid to buy our software. Their companies have paid to buy our software. So the perspective of Devrel kind of completely changes. It's less awareness about your product. It's more about uh, enablement, and it's more about the product feedback that would come from the experienced developers who have paid the companies have paid to buy that buy our software, Guidewire. So the program completely changes the
Yes.
partnership in the ecosystem with the with the existing meetups, like language based meetups or cloud focused meetups, and all these things is not a thing for us. We are
Oh,
more into going right into their offices, their centers, or the cities where they are working together, and giving them the knowledge that they need to be enabled. Yeah.
oh, that's amazing. I have a question about that, but just before. Hi, hello, my friend. It's been forever. I hope life is good for you. I used to work with Hayaro when we were at Construct, a previous company. So glad to see you here. I hope life is good. Actually, you know what? Ping me on LinkedIn. I want to get some news about how is life. And we also have Veronica. Veronica will say, "Go Harshit, go Harshit." I'm like, "Yeah, ooh, ooh, go
Veronica, Veronica was my my colleague at MongoDB. We worked very closely. I was taking care of the user group program, and she was running the champions program. So we were like very cross linked, very very closely working together. So yeah.
Oh, that's great to keep connection with like previous coworker because one of the thing I've had too many jobs for my own good, not by choice, but like at the last company where I was, the last startup, we closed our doors, so I had no choice to leave and find another job, and quite often or when you leave a job or when like developer relation that happens to me where like the company was not doing so well, so my department, my team or myself were like being let go for reasons that I understand. I mean, like I think our jobs are important, but I'm also not the one building the product. I'm also not the one purely doing some sales enablement. Like if I do my job well, that's going to help the sales team. But like I do not have dollar amounts of money as my goal. So anyway, where I was going with that is that, like with your coworker, you work for them with a long time and you become friends with some of them, not everybody, with some of them, and you always be like, oh, let's keep in touch, like even if we don't work together anymore. If I want to be honest, it does not happen super often because it's just life. But it's great to like see Veronica's here. I even think she retweet or said go Harshit also on LinkedIn under the post about live stream that names ring a bell. Jairo is popping up. I mean, it's great to keep in touch with the amazing people you work with. I think it's part of the
Yeah,
beauty of doing that job too.
and Fred, not only that, so basically, majorly when you worked as a community manager in this space, there is so much that your employees are one you work with. You also work a lot with the community. So you make so many friends in the community. The first company I worked for, 2014, 2015, the friends I made in the community are still like great friends. If I am we're wishing birthdays, we are getting on a call sometimes on a Friday, we are still collaborating, still discussing things here and there. It's just what the space brings to you, right? Devrel as a space helps you just reach so many people, hear so many people, learn from so many people. It's an amazing world. Yeah.
That is true. That's sometimes I got asked because I started my career as a software developer. So I was coding full time for the first 10 years. And after that, I moved to developer relation. Uh, and people ask me, like, do you miss being a software developer? And my answer is yes. Like, I miss coding full time because I loved it. I didn't left full time software developer job because I didn't like it. It's just because I saw that new shiny thing that was developer relation that was kind of like a new thing at the time. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't be paid to do things that I already do on my free time. And that seems like there is a word. I think it's a Japanese concept of like you need to find like what you like to do and what you can get paid to do. And like there is the middle of like those two circle that like there's a specific word for that. I forgot about it, but like I was like, oh yes, I found that thing, where I can be passionate about my work, even if I was passionate about being software developer. But the thing that I was missing for my software development job was the people. And don't get me wrong, like you work with your colleague, you have meetings with them, you depending on your job, you talk to customers, and that's nice. But I needed more people than that because I'm like super social. So, going to meetups, going to conferences, sometimes leading social media or being part of that community or building a community is like, it's just amazing. As you said, like there are people that like first started like as a work relation and at some point they just become friends. And I just love that for a job. Like it may not be for everyone, but for it seems like it is for you and definitely is for me. So I had a question because usually the people I have on the show and their title is going to be like developer advocate or developer relation manager. Like that's going to be really like, okay, that person is a developer advocate. In your case, your title is developer relation program manager.
Mhm.
So, what is a developer relation program manager? I mean, like, I guess it says it all in the title, but like, if you want to share a little more about like that specific role, so people get the grasp out of it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's just this what we're discussing, right? The technology evangelist was a buzzword during those days. It could encompass anything or everything. The and the developer space is like that. Some many have the titles are developer advocates. They're probably doing 10 different things, which are different from each other, and you just don't know. So similarly, I think this is kind of a title which, if I say, would fit into something like a community manager. But because now community management, when it is kind of scaled up, you want to build programs around it. So you tend to call yourself, a community program manager. Or if your company has the hierarchy or the job title, business title layers as developer relations program manager, then you end up getting called as developer relations program manager. So it's nothing but you are building programs for the community, to be to make sure that they are uh, helping each other. They are uh, you know they're involved in contributing to your product, they're involved in providing feedback to your product. You're building programs that help you enable them, running some hands-on workshops, or all those programs that you build, which
Mhm.
are programmatized, comes into this one bracket. And I feel it's just I'm sure tomorrow I would be doing something completely different, which would be new to this space, and I'll just say, the title is just in this world, I think the title is just a myth sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I've seen, like, when I was looking for a job recently before I joined Tiny MC, I've seen like job posts and they were looking for developer relations engineer, and I was like, oh yeah, in my mind that role I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be someone who is like the main engineer, the main software developer within the Devrel team. So I don't know, building like a developer center on the website, building stuff that help developer relation do their magic, maybe coding example that, like, even as developer advocate we do, but like I thought that was their full-time job, but actually that was just a developer advocate job, and they decided to put that title because they're in their mind they were afraid that, like, if they hired developer advocate they wouldn't be as technical that, like, if they hire developer relation engineers. But when I looked at the job description I was like, no, that exactly developer advocate. And yes, some developer advocates are less technical, other are more technical, but like that was still the same job. I personally do not care about titles. I still has that on the show because I think it's important for people to understand sometimes the difference. Sometimes there's no difference, as you said, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's like technical evangelist, developer advocate. Some people make a difference though. Like I had that discussion with another guest previously, another old timer like you doing that for a long time, and we all started as like as technical evangelists or developer evangelists, and at some point the industry changed it. So I think it was mostly not to uh, basically pissed off like people that take the evangelist part at heart because of religion and stuff like that. And it was like, okay, that's fine. But some other companies still use it and made a difference between like the evangelist is going to be the one who mostly create awareness, who like just do the one-way street of like from the company to the community, and the developer advocate is going to be the one who do the other way around. Where in my mind, developer advocate is it's a two-way street. But it was the same thing when my title was a technical evangelist. I was still evangelizing stuff, but I was still bringing the feedback to the product team to ensure we're going the right direction. It all, from my point of view, it was always part of the job, no matter the title.
I think completely, and it's very uh, the if you see it from the very top, the job stays the same, right? We are the representatives of developers in the ecosystem.
Yep.
uh, we are hearing them, we are bringing the feedback back to the product, and then we are also like trying to enable them about the new things that are in our product, and and make sure that their problems are solutioned in some way or form. So I think it just stays the same, and then there's a lot of difference in how everybody approaches it through different methods, ways. Sometimes
Mhm.
they are under marketing, sometimes they are under product. They have different methodologies, the way they try and approach it. But I think you see it from the very top. It's just we are here for developers who use our product or who want to use our product. Help them, hear them, give them
Yep.
a kind feedback. And yeah, to your point, I've seen developer relations engineer role also, being in a place where uh, it's basically a it's basically a support, forum
Mm.
support role, and they want to call it developer relations engineer. So I've seen like various. So it's always good to like go and read the job description, because they might be right for you, they might be wrong for you, but just go and read that if you are in this space. That's very important when you are looking for a role in this space. Yeah.
It's one of my, I wouldn't say pet peeve, but that's annoying me for years because, most roles in the tech industry, the title, and you know what you do. Like if you're a software developer, you know what you do. You're going to create software. That's it. The technology you're going to use may change. The principle behind, or the rules, or what was defined in terms of like how you're going to build stuff may change a little bit. But your role would always be to build software. If you are a community manager, your role is to manage the community. I mean, like those roles are really like, hey, this is a title. It's clear what you're going to do. Developer advocate, developer relations engineers, technical evangelist. They have the same baseline, but it can mean real different things. Like I talked to, again, I did the interview process not too long ago, which I do not wish to anyone. The market right now is terrible, but I talked to people who were looking for developer advocates, and the description fits well for me. Like I was like, okay, they understand what is developer relation from my perception of what it is. But when I talked to them, it was like, oh no, what you want is a salesperson or a sales engineer. Is like, you're not looking, from my point of view, from my definition of developer relation, you're not looking for a developer advocate. And I'm not the right person, because like this is not something I think I would be good at doing. And this is not something first I also want to do. I understand the importance, but it was completely off track because there is no kind of like standard when it comes to like developer relations title. Hopefully there is that. It's new-ish foundation. I think it's been there for a couple of years, but like the Devrel Foundation,
Yeah, yeah.
that hopefully maybe it's part of like their kind of like mission to try to formalize some of the things, but maybe like job description or titles, or I don't know, career ladder when it comes to developer relation could be things that they can formalize and try to make it a standard in the industry. Maybe that should be good. Um,
Yes.
Talking about past experience, so previously, prior to being to Guidewire, you said that you work at MongoDB. You worked there for nearly 4 years. So, would you like to share a little bit of your experience? And I know you had also a pretty good experience with like the community there. So, I'm interested to learn more about what happened during those years, if you want to share.
Yeah, I think I joined MongoDB right after COVID times, and before that, I was working for a company called Topcoder. So I'll start with Topcoder a little because that kind of helps understand the experience at MongoDB. Topcoder was I worked at Topcoder for almost 7 years. Topcoder was basically the platform where I started, learning programming on. It used to do a lot of programming competitions. They had algorithm programming competitions. So since my school days, I was competing on the algorithm programming competitions. Then they also had something like development and data science and design competitions as well. So they used to get clients to give their projects. The project used to get divided into different parts, and each part, let's say there's a microservices challenge, there is a front end challenge, used to run separately, and then competitors, developers used to compete on it. They used to get a chess style rating, and
Okay.
so I was like on that platform from my school days, asking random questions on forums, looking at the winner solutions. So the best one of the parts was you could look at the winner solution, and you could just ping the winner and ask them, why did you do this and not this? And there was so much learning that you could get from that days. And I used to realize that there's this community of people who are giving back so much for nothing. They're replying to my questions and answers. they
Mm,
are they are so kind. Everybody is sharing how they solved this problem or how they solved this, how this technology works and what is critical in this space that you should take care of. That was my initial days at Topcoder. I accidentally, when I was graduating, Topcoder was looking for their first employee in India, and when I was like, why not give it a try? And they said your role is going to be technology evangelist. It's like, what does that role
nice.
mean? So that was like a 3 people team for a longest time of in the developer relations. We used to call it community team because Topcoder was a kind of a two-sided marketplace. Uh, like there are clients who are bringing competitions. There has to be a ready community who will solve the
Okay.
competition. So we were an important part in terms of making sure that there is a ready community for that particular technology. they are engaged, they are gamified. We used to run like regional events, regional leaderboards, uh, to bring all of them together and keep them engaged, because this was more like a, more like a freelancing activity that they're doing while competing on the competitions. So we had to like keep them together, keep them engaged. uh, so I was there for a long time. I had a good experience. This was more like building skill builder competitions, sometimes learning new technology to teach others about that new technology. Over a good period of time, we had a very good community all over the world. We had like 1.5 million community members all around the world, with
Oh,
25K, 30K active members, chit chatting about technology. We were encouraging them to chit chat. And while we had that, products like when Apple launched Swift language, when IBM had IBM Cloud, HP came up with some HP Idle APIs. These products wanted to tap into our community. So their developer relations used to come to us and
wow.
and ask us to, "Hey, how could you evangelize?" The word was evangelize back then. Sorry, evangelize the product to your community and in your regions where your community is already out there. So that was a time when I got a chance to sit with some somebody named as a Devrel and try and strategize their developer relations on our platform and utilize it in a way that it could be best for them. Like
That's nice.
the content strategy, the competition strategy. How would we make sure that this community gets enabled on your technology? So we did that for a while, and I got a good hands off. What is developer relations? I got to know that my role is developer relations finally, because whatever I was doing was not just passionate, telling people about programming and helping them about competitive programming, but finally also about what my role entails in this
Yeah.
space. Uh, and then when I was at doing all of this at Topcoder, I think I thought of looking out and seeing that where could I learn more and get into a space where I'm working for a product company,
Mm.
because I was getting a hang of it while working for these uh, Apple, HP, Idle, Adobe, during these periods. And that's when MongoDB came about. At MongoDB, the role was pretty specific. So in a startup, you are a DevRel team, you are doing probably everything.
Yes.
I was writing guides, I was writing tutorials, I was building community programs, I was running regional events, uh, you know, so many things. We were a very small team and we were probably hands down into everything. At MongoDB, my task was, hey, you have to restart our MongoDB user group program. It has kind of stopped before COVID, and it was a program which was volunteer run. So we want a processified, programmed, supported program that helps us scale to a larger community and reach to the larger community. It was a interesting change, because I got to, from a 40-45 people company, and a three people DevRel. I came to a company where the DevRel is huge. It's very highly regarded in the ecosystem. You're working with some of the people who are very experienced in DevRel, and uh, you are. So that's when I was trying to. Initially, I was just trying to absorb all these things and trying to understand what needs to be done in terms of informing every other stakeholder that what is this program going to be, how are you going to programmatize it and structure it, and go ahead and then launch it. So MongoDB, my job was to like spin up the user group program once again, make sure that the culture in the communities that we build is correct and right. And that is very important, because the culture that you build in the community is what it takes,
Yeah.
to a level to really to be a good community that is valuable for everyone. And so that was the core principle. We wanted to make sure that the user group leaders are well supported. They are, they have a value because they are putting their time and energy into running such a meetup. And then we wanted to make, sorry.
No, I'm so sorry. It's just like you said something that is so important, like trying to find value for both parties. I mean, like so often I see company that try to get developers to help them achieve their own goal, and that's okay, but you need to find a win-win situation. I mean, you're not looking for cheap labor. So what, like, those people, they're going to help you in a way by doing things they're passionate about, like talking about your product, giving talks, writing blog posts, doing those kind of things, organizing meetups. But like, it's the goal is not free labor. The goal is like, okay, what can you do to also help them being successful? Like, it needs to be like a two-way street. So I just, like, I was just happy when you said that. I was like, yes, that is, like, you need to find values from both sides, not just the side of the company.
And the value thread could be anything for anyone. You, as you know, my job as a program manager was to understand what is valuable to each of them. Some of them would really value, like talking to the product teams. Some of them would really value getting some early access. Some of them would really like some tangible benefits, and some of them would like, do you help me increase my profile on the web? Do you socialize
Mhm.
me for my efforts? So everybody had their own
Yep.
way of understanding. So my job was to make sure that I understand what they need, and then making sure that they get back in that case. And then the biggest thing that I always feel, because I come from a space where I learned a lot from the community that I was around, I always felt that the biggest thing is that you would be a part of a closed community, which is going to sit together, learn together, share a lot of different things together. So that is something that if we are able to build a good community of user group leaders, they will actually understand and go back and build better communities in their own region. So the whole idea evolved around that. Yeah.
No, I love that. And you mentioned India. I just wanted to say, like, I've done stuff in India when I was at Mozilla, and the community was just amazing. I think I even saw a high TB on your LinkedIn profile. I did a workshop there. I think it was a high TB Bangalore, and yeah, the community, the local community, were just amazing.
Yeah, the Indian ecosystem is kind of rapidly expanding. There are enthusiastic learners.
They are.
um, like, let's say you are a Java developer sitting and working on your application. You work at Amazon. If I know a developer like that in Berlin, for example, they would be very satisfied with what they're doing. They know their space. They are heavily focused in their space. Versus an Indian developer, I've always seen them. They're very enthusiastic. They want to get out and learn 10 different things. Uh, that could just make them know everything, which is it's not sometimes not possible. I sometimes try and tell them that, hey, you can stick it to your own space. When needed, you can go out. But the ecosystem is just amazing. You see the passion and energy in the developers, and yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and the passion is there. Like, I always tell people, like, sometimes it doesn't make sense for the business because of geography, and there's different goal target of the company. But like, if you can build the community in India, they're gonna love you forever. I mean, like, don't be an asshole with everything, but like they're so passionate, and once they get excited about something, they're gonna become like what I call virtual evangelists, and that they're gonna be member of your community, and they're just gonna be like amazing folks and great friends. Like, I made great friends in the community locally. It's just, I mean, we're talking about, and if I want to be honest, I was lucky that, like, any countries where I work with local developer community, I've always had a great time. So I think it's more like a developer centric things. Like, I think most communities, no matter where you're from, people are amazing. But I just had a little something for India because it seems like the passion is just like one next level. Like, they're just excited and passionate about. But yeah, I've been lucky enough that I've worked with communities a little bit around the world, and I've always been lucky. Part of the job, depending on your job, part of the job, sometimes you need to travel because you speak at conferences, you run meetups, maybe some meetings with potential influencers or partners. But in the end, it's not all developer advocates to travel, and the level of travels depends from one role to the other. But I've always been lucky because every places I go, it's usually for a conference and a meetup, meaning that like I know other speakers, I know the organizers, and it's just a friendly community. It's just I don't know how to describe that. It's just maybe it's because I'm a people person and I just love folks. I just love the tech community.
Yes, I think plus to that, any chance I still get to go back to India and run something as a part of my role, I'm always like excited to do that. Yeah, it's a yeah, and even not only in India actually, there's so many as mentioned you earlier, right? There is so many community friends I've made all over the years. It's
Yeah.
it's it's like the connection that stays. Like last summer I was visiting Italy, and it took me like a text to an Italian community member of MongoDB, and I was like, where should I go and what should I eat?
Yes.
And he's like, don't go to these 7 places in Rome. They'll come at the top of your list. Go to these ones. They are the best. I mean, that's not technology. We could discuss
Yeah.
and talk technology all day, all time long, but sometimes it's also just about these things that come when you are in these kind of roles. So anybody looking to get into Devrel and listening to us, take it as a positive. There's a lot you learn from many different people, different cultures. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's not always fun and unicorn and giggles, but I would say most of the time it's a pretty good job. So on that note, is there anything else you would like to share with the folks about you, about developer relation? I feel like we're nearing the end of our discussion, and for this episode, we won't have like the usual like technical demo part. So, is there anything else you would like to share with folks?
yeah, there's one thing I'd like to point out which was pretty interesting in my previous role at MongoDB, and I certainly feel wherever I go, I want to carry that in every other role of Devrel I get to do, which is basically like we always talk about community Devrel metrics. There is a lot that goes around that, hey, this are the things that should be measured, these are things that should not
Hmm.
be measured, these are hard to measure. You know that, and every Devrel con we would hear that one of the topics is exactly about
Yeah.
the revamped Devrel metrics that could be in the market. It's always a topic of discussion. One thing that we tried doing at MongoDB was, we tried working on a community insights report. So we started gathering a lot of community insights from the ecosystem. We try to understand what they like, what they don't like, what are the type of education courses they are doing, what are the type of certification they are doing, uh, what are their preference languages, what are the drivers that they're using. And this data was useful to us, to our product teams, of course, but the major point is this data was very useful to our user group leaders as well.
Hmm.
So, one of the big tasks was that, hey, this we are building these reports for internal audiences to understand, what is our community doing and where should you put your more, efforts into understand where their pain points are. There's also a good place that to tell this to your user group leaders. They are the people who are actually in touch with the community
Yeah.
in the region. They are building that trust with the community. They are actually giving them back what they need. So that data is very useful for them, and so one of the efforts was to make sure that that data reaches them. They are able to like take a look at that. This is how my community needs help. This is their
That's
expertise.
right.
This is their value, so that they can plan their sessions accordingly. So I think that's something I thought this is something that we over the job came into our minds and started working on it. But I wish to carry it with me wherever I go, and make sure that the community that is the champions community, or the user group leaders who are your extended, who are close to you and who are actually your representatives, your faces for your product and in the ecosystem, they should also understand this really well, because it could be helpful to build something good. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like those folks, even if you're not an employee, they're part of the team from my point of view. So include them when you have data with that, where you have things that you can help them. Because also, I don't think it's a secret, but like if I talk about my product right now, Tiny MCE, and you, Harshit, talk about TinyMCE as a non-employee of TinyMCE, you have a lot more credibility than I do, because people are not spit. They're like, hey, Fred is being paid, so of course they're gonna say nice things. Actually, if you know me, you're gonna you know that like I'm really honest about things. I think it's important for developer advocacy to really be honest and transparent about stuff. But like having those people in the community basically being what I call those virtual evangelists or virtual developer advocate, that are an extension of your team, it's super powerful. But again, it's not about cheap labor. So you need to find that win-win situation with those folks. So anyway, Arshid, I think it's late for you. And thanks again for doing that. I really appreciate. Thanks everyone who was watching live, and of course, people who watched the recording. And I'm gonna see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of the Devrel Show. Check the social media, because if I'm not wrong, actually I'm not wrong on that. Like in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be in Poland for the TinyMC engineering offsites. I'm gonna go meet some colleagues in person, and also I love Poland. But it also means that the show is going to be at a different time. So look at the social media. That won't be at 3 p.m. Eastern time as usual. That's going to be at the different time. And actually, you know what? If you're listening to the show and you are in Warsaw, I'm going to be in Warsaw in Poland. Let me know. I do not know my schedule yet, but hopefully I'm going to have some free time, and I would love to go for a dinner, coffee, for a drink. I do not drink alcohol anymore, but I can go to a bar. I can go. I'm going to be more than happy to meet some local folks. So just let me know. And I guess we didn't do a bad job, because Veronica is like, yay. I think we didn't do a bad job. So on that note, folks, see you in 2 weeks for the next Devrel show. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, everyone.